Hey, what's up? We're obviously just waiting the obligatory 5 minutes to start the stream, so I'm just going to be waiting for people to join. Should I turn this down even further? I think it needs to be lower than that. I think I can't really hear me, because I'm just not really talking loud enough. But yep, just the obligatory pre-stream waits. So I think tomorrow, like just having stuff to talk about tomorrow, probably will try and go back to, maybe we can go to, like the third part of the Karen case. I don't know, it's been a while since we've done Chinaverse stuff at this point. I feel like I almost completely forgot that Chinaverse stuff exists, just because it's been a while since we had multiple Dark Asia videos, the Karen case stuff. Just I completely forgot about it. So maybe we'll go back to Chinaverse. I don't know. And we do still need like 3 and 4 of the Karen case. So I don't know. I don't know if we just want to get that over with in the next few days or what. Obviously, we're not doing any of that stuff today. We're doing the newest Masquerade video, but still. Wait, I forgot to like post the sunflower, penguin, sunflower in chat. And then the goal that I usually set. I could do that now. And there we go. I just like 2 minutes. 2 minutes or so before we start. I'm thinking about maybe streaming again later, but I don't know about that because I kind of want to get to get like the third cutie on the Little Shop of Cuties already. So I've kind of like, I want to do that today, I think. But we did finally add like the rest of the Power Rangers to Fortnite recently. Not that I'm gonna get them because it's like what, $30, $40? Like really? No thanks. But yeah, I probably would have like tried to stream Fortnite with Rayleigh later, but I think we're just gonna do, well, I'm gonna do off camera some VTuber stuff, VTuber making. Then just a few more minutes before we start again. I'm just like waiting to see waiting for people to join. But I don't know if like 5 minutes is too long. I like to wait for people to join, because obviously I can see the viewer count, and people are already dipping. I think because I'm taking too long to get to it, so maybe I should not have the starting soon be so long. But I feel like 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes is not that long, right? Get a minute left and then we'll start. Also, just if you were wondering, the starting soon screen here is something I made in Blender that is 3D rendering. And the standees in the background, the Metabee and the Harmony, also, those are 3D models that I made and then turned into standees for the background. It's supposed to be like a local game store, right? That's not open. Like a card store that you buy trading cards from. Or like just novelty stuff. Oh, it's 6, so let's go ahead and start. Hey guys, what's up? We're back with some more reactions after dark, and we are of course going to be watching This Water Bottle Solved just solved a 24-year-old cold case, obviously by Lazy Masquerade. It's been a while since we've done Masquerade because it's usually just Dark Asia and then whatever variant of Stephanie or Rotten Mango video that we're watching for today. But yeah, finally back to the newest Lazy Masquerade video. No clue what this case is about. It says just solved, so I'm assuming that means this is brand new. I'd hope so. I wouldn't know what this is, so we'll be surprised, right? Though I think we're just gonna get straight into it because we already talked about all this stuff during the starting soon, the pre-stream. So yeah, we can just get to it.
Years ago, Leslie Prior was found dead inside her home.
It's innocent until proven guilty, right?
You would just
Well, we know that's the bad guy, right? But
expect for someone to have seen or heard something.
This is all very bewildering, very strange.
There's no tears coming out of your face.
He didn't seem weird, and how you can look somebody in the eye and knowing that you committed this crime and act like nothing happened is pretty unreal.
the cold case of Leslie Prior and the genetic genie in a bottle. What kind of title is that? I'm guessing there's some sort of DNA in the water bottle, but...
May 2nd, 2001. Just another beautiful spring morning on Drummond Avenue, a quiet tree-lined road in the affluent suburb of Chevy Chase, Maryland. Students set off for their Wednesday classes.
Why is there a place called Chevy Chase? Question mark. What he said, right? Yeah, Chevy Chase, Maryland. I'm guessing maybe it's someone else, because obviously that's the comedian? Question mark. There's a comedian named this.
Road in the affluent suburb of Chevy Chase, Maryland. Students set off for their Wednesday classes, while commuters poured their coffee and joined the morning rush, their thoughts focused on meetings, emails, and errands. Life for the high-flying professionals who lived there was busy, but it was also comfortable, predictable, and above all, safe. The idea of something dark, something violent, unfolding just a few doors down? Unthinkable. But behind the door of one red brick home on the street, that illusion of security had already been crushed. 4 miles away, alarm bells were sounding at Specialities Inc., a DC-based ad firm. One of the company's most diligent account executives, 49-year-old Leslie Prior, still hadn't shown up for work. She was due to clock in at 10 AM. It had just turned 10:30. And to most, that might not sound dramatic, but to those who knew Leslie, it was a red flag. She was reliable, predictable, the type who never left people guessing. Yet
Okay, so she was so good at her job that, like, the fact that she was late just meant people were like, wait, something's wrong? Like, immediately everyone's like, something's wrong. This woman is never late.
she hadn't called to say that she was sick, hadn't sent a text about traffic, and now wasn't answering her phone. Her boss, Brett Reedy, took that silence as cause for concern. He contacted Leslie's immediate family members to check that everything was alright.
Yeah, was this like the same day? Like, she's literally that good of an employee that the boss was like, hey man, she's not at work, I'm worried. Like, is he like legitimately worried, or just like, is it because he wants the productivity, right? But who knows?
Her daughter, Lauren Prior, was away at university at the time and wasn't sure where her mum was. Leslie's husband, Carl Prior, who went by the nickname Sandy, had last seen her at 7:45 AM when he headed off for work. Worried that nobody could reach her, he left his office and went straight home. By late morning, Brett was standing outside 4824 Drummond Avenue. His knocks went ignored, and he saw no movement through the windows. Sandy arrived shortly thereafter, at 11:35 AM, house key in hand. But he didn't need it. The front door was already unlocked. Together, the two men stepped into a nightmare. The front hallway was streaked with blood.
So the two men, who was with Sandy?
There were spatters and smears on the walls, and a red pool had congealed by the entrance. A nearby table was overturned. A rug had been dragged from the foyer into the living room. Upon seeing this disarray, Brett dialed 911, while Sandy frantically searched for Leslie. He found the family dog shut in the basement, but no sign of his wife anywhere.
Wait, what? Did you say shot or shut?
He found the family dog shut in the basement, but no sign of his wife anywhere.
I think he says shot. So not just Leslie, also the dog. Like, wasn't the dog necessary?
While Brett talked with dispatchers, Sandy began phoning the local hospitals. That's when the two men were instructed by emergency services to leave the house and wait for assistance. They grabbed the pooch and did so on the lawn.
Okay, so they grabbed. Maybe they meant. Okay, maybe he said shut. This is his accent. Maybe he said shut. Because why would they grab the dog? Well, why would they grab its corpse? I guess to take it out of the house, but I'm assuming the dog's alive.
Montgomery County officers arrived at 11:47 a.m. Upstairs, in the master bathroom, they made a grim discovery. A pair of legs were protruding from the shower. Inside the stall, they found Leslie's lifeless body, lying face down in a shallow puddle of water. News spread fast and sent shockwaves through the community. Chevy Chase was a notably low-crime suburb, one of the most affluent in the entire country, and the victim was a warm person from a tight-knit family. Could this have simply been an accident? The result of a trip in the hallway that finished Leslie off while she cleaned up in the shower? Authorities decided to wait 2 days for post-mortem results before jumping to conclusions. Autopsy findings revealed 7 lacerations on Leslie's head, consistent with being struck against a hard surface. There were multiple bruises on her torso and hemorrhaging around her neck area. This was no accident. Leslie had been strangled, and her head battered onto the foyer floor and the sharp edge of the shoe molding by the front door, hence the mess in the entrance. She had then been dragged upstairs into the shower and washed, an apparent attempt by the killer to destroy evidence.
Okay, let's read what this says. Leslie Jennings, Prior, age 49, of Chevy Chase, MD, died on Wednesday, May 2nd, 2001. She was born on October 5th, 1951, in Quonset Points, Rhode Island, and settled in Pensacola with her military family in '63. She graduated from Pensacola High School in '69 and the University of Florida in '73. Married to Sandy in '74. She is also survived by the daughter Lauren. Okay, that's just like the obituary, essentially. Deeply saddened by her loss.
And perhaps stage an accidental fall. A forensic reagent revealed hidden evidence of a half-hearted cleanup attempt. Large areas in the foyer where blood had pooled and been wiped or dabbed away.
I was going to say, like, because this happened in the house, granted it was, the building was open, is the husband going to be the first suspect? But, like, I'm assuming we know it's not him because we saw who it is. I think the guy on the thumbnail is the guy who did it, but are they going to, like, think it's a husband and the husband gets in trouble for a while until, like, they can't prove it because, like, he didn't do it?
Distinct swipe patterns were visible on the door and floor leading toward the staircase. The same forensic process revealed additional residue around the kitchen and the downstairs bathroom sinks. Dark red spots and smears were flagged throughout the kitchen, along door frames, on the trash can, and the back door which led to the garden. Crucially, not all of it belonged to Leslie. According to the Cellmark Diagnostics Lab, 3 blood samples at the scene, a droplet under the dining room window baseboard, another in the kitchen doorway, and a smear on the interior side of the kitchen door leading to the backyard belonged to a single, unidentified male. Leslie had clearly fought back. Under her fingernails, the lab recovered traces of DNA that matched the unknown man's profile. Whoever had done this hadn't gotten away clean, but he had gotten away, and he had done so in a hurry.
Okay, so where does a water bottle come into play? Is it just someone when they are interrogating the guy who did it, we see, like, in the thumbnail, there's like a crushed water bottle. Is it because he crushed that water bottle in anger in the while he's being interrogated, and it, like, left DNA that matched what they were looking for, which they should have found that, like, a million years ago? Or is it a water bottle that they found at the house that had been crushed up that maybe she'd used to fight back? I don't know.
No official timeline has ever been released for this case, but here's what we do know. On the morning of May 2nd, only 2 people were inside 4824 Drummond Avenue: Leslie and Sandy.
Yeah, like the husband. Unless who we're looking at in the thumbnail is Sandy, we just can't tell because his hair is, like, black. It looks black. Maybe he dyed it? I don't know.
As mentioned, Sandy left for work at 7:45 a.m. Leslie planned to leave at around 9 a.m. as per usual, to catch a bus to her office on Wisconsin Avenue. The culprit must have struck during that hour and 15-minute window when she was alone. With May 2nd being a weekday, he'd then have plenty of time to bleach the scene uninterrupted. What he didn't count on was how quickly Leslie's absence would raise alarms. Brett and Sandy entered the home at roughly 11:35 a.m. That means the intruder only had between 2 hours 35 minutes and 3 hours 50 minutes to gain access, commit the slaying, stage the scene, and scrub away every trace of DNA. That's not much time. It's entirely possible then that Brett and Sandy's sudden arrival forced the killer to flee partway through his cleanup. Maybe he heard them outside, freaked out and tried to escape through the dining room window, leaving behind a droplet of blood on the baseboard. When that didn't work, maybe he rushed into the kitchen, leaving another drop in the doorway, and then finally exited through the back door, smearing more on the handle as he left. That's a lot of mights and maybes, but it would explain why the perp foolishly left traces of his own blood behind for experts to analyze.
Now, how did he not get caught for 24 years if he's just bleeding out everywhere because of his like extreme attempt to leave the house? That doesn't make any sense. How did it take 24 years if we have blood samples?
Unfortunately, the suspect's DNA didn't match with any samples in CODIS, the national DNA database.
Okay, because apparently he didn't have his blood in there yet.
And so, detectives vetted everyone close to Leslie. Her husband Sandy was of course first under the microscope. His daughter...
That's what I was saying, like they're always going to check the husband or the closest person next to them from the get-go.
Lauren defended him staunchly. She knew her parents' relationship was solid, and that her father wasn't responsible. A DNA comparison proved her right, and Sandy was ruled out quickly. Yet suspicion lingered. Further DNA samples were collected from everyone with close ties to Leslie, but none were a match. While investigators did examine other homicides in the broader Montgomery County area, they determined this to be an isolated incident. This left the MCPD scratching their heads. There was no obvious motive, and none of the neighbors had seen or heard anything out of the ordinary that morning. Without leads, the case froze over. Lauren stayed in contact with the authorities, but years passed without any new developments. Sadly, Sandy passed away in 2017, never knowing who killed his wife. Never.
Oof. I wouldn't even have assumed that he would have passed away before this all happened. So what was it? 2001, so he had 24 years, I guess. What is he, like 40 or 50? So maybe he was like 60 or 70 or so, I'm guessing. So it makes sense that he could have passed, but that sucks.
For fully clearing his name of suspicion. But the Montgomery County Cold Case Unit didn't let go, and with each year that went by, technology improved. Specifically, in 2018, there was a massive breakthrough in forensic science. Genetic genealogy, a revolutionary method that uses DNA from crime scenes to track down suspects via their distant relatives. The technique has since been used to solve over 500 cold cases, and has brought some of America's most elusive monsters, like Gary Hartman, William Earl Talbot II, and Joseph James D'Angelo, out from the shadows and into jail cells.
No clue who those guys are.
But the question on Montgomery County PD's mind was, could genetic genealogy help identify Leslie Prior's killer too? In September 2022, cold case investigators submitted the preserved DNA found under Leslie's fingernails to Othram Inc. There, they conducted forensic-grade genome sequencing, the first time the technique had been used in Maryland state history. After analysing the samples, the lab identified shared markers to an individual living in Romania. This person was one of the killer's distant relatives, one they'd probably never met, one who had innocently submitted their DNA to a commercial genetic database in order to research their ancestry, one who had unwittingly cracked this case wide open.
That's interesting that you can just, I want to know my ancestry, and it just gets put into a base, right? So if you ever commit a crime, they're going to find you because you wanted to know what your full ancestry is. Granted that it's not this guy who did it, but it helped find the guy.
Backwards, detectives were able to draw up a family tree, and after 2 years of building branches, they honed in on one name in particular. A man living in the United States. Eugene Gligor. He was an ex-boyfriend of Leslie's daughter, Lauren, but hadn't been considered a suspect, as the two had lost contact years before the murder. In chatting with Lauren, investigators learned more about her past with Eugene. They had met when she was 15, were high school sweethearts, lived just 10 minutes apart, and frequently visited one another. To Lauren, he was outgoing, charming, handsome. Her mother Leslie had welcomed him into their lives. Her father Sandy, on the other hand, had always thought there was something off with the boy.
Okay, so, what happened to make him want to do this? Also, maybe we should have listened to the dad, I guess. I mean, that's kind of just standard dad, right? You don't want anyone to have your child, right? So it could have just been that, but...
During their courtship, Eugene never once displayed signs of violence towards Lauren. However, as he got older, he began to exhibit delinquent behavior and was arrested on charges of weapons possession and a DUI. Despite coming from a wealthy background himself, additional incident reports listed him as a suspect in multiple residential thefts in the local area.
And why is he doing that?
He even matched the description of a boy who had assaulted a woman near Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. Lauren personally defended Eugene against that last suspicion, telling the police that he was both harmless and innocent. In the end, no charges were filed against him, and he was never swabbed. Lauren and Eugene broke up when they enrolled at different universities.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what happened to him to make him want to do that to the mother?
The split had been amicable, and they both moved on to different partners. They didn't stay in direct contact, but occasionally bumped into one another when they attended events hosted by mutual friends. There was never any tension when they did. Eugene was 21 years old at the time of Leslie's slaying. He and his mother relocated to Washington, D.C. a few months after. Friends, both new and old, sometimes asked him about who he thought killed Mrs. Prier. With a steady gaze and a calm tone of voice, he'd always reply in the same manner. "Your guess is as good as mine." The cold case unit began looking through their extensive evidence file, and while doing so, they couldn't believe what they found. Eugene Gligor's name had actually come up during the initial search for clues.
What? I mean, you actually had already looked into this guy and you just let him go?
And not just from Sandy,
Well, not let him go, but...
whose suspicions fell on deaf ears. In January 2002, a tip came in from one of Eugene's old neighbors in Kenwood, who had told investigators they suspected he may have been connected to Leslie Prier's death. The tipster noted that the police had frequently visited the Gligor household in the past for issues like noise complaints, underage drinking, and marijuana usage. After talking with this neighbor, the original investigators still didn't consider Eugene a suspect. Though a mischievous youth, he'd seemingly straightened himself out at college, had stayed out of trouble, hadn't stayed in contact with the Priers, and in their eyes, had no conceivable motive. He wasn't asked to submit a sample of his DNA, wasn't so much as questioned. In hindsight, it was a missed opportunity, but more diligent officers had since taken over the investigation. They identified Eugene Gligor living in the U Street corridor, a trendy nightlife district in Washington, D.C. There, he worked as an account executive for a firm specializing in surveillance equipment. Ironically, Eugene was now the one being watched. But before officers could act, they needed a DNA sample to compare with the matter found under Leslie's nails. So, they staged a covert operation.
Okay, so I'm guessing they're somehow going to get him to interact with this water bottle somehow, and then that's how they're going to get him? Like, how's that going to plan out?
On June 9th, 2024, Eugene landed at Dulles International Airport after returning from a trip to Europe.
Oh, did he just happen to have a water bottle that he was drinking from and threw it away and they took it out of the trash?
Under the guise of a routine secondary screening, a US customs officer led him into a room where several plastic water bottles had been placed on a table.
Okay. So they're really trying to be like secretive. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to check you at the airport. Oh, here's some water bottles if you want to drink something while you wait and sit around in here.
Eugene took the bait, grabbing one of the bottles and drinking its contents. Detectives watched through surveillance monitors as Eugene left his mock screening, discarded the bottle in the trash, and went on his merry way. Agents collected the bottle shortly thereafter and sent it in for testing.
I would hope that wherever he threw it, like the trash, I'm assuming in this interrogation room, was like clean. Like they set this entire place up to be like the most sterile trash can possible. And like the only thing being thrown away in the trash was a bottle. I mean, obviously everything seemed to have planned out correctly, so I'm assuming it was fine, but still.
The lab results were irrefutable.
Because I would argue that they could use some sort of trick in court to be like, oh, you can't use this because it could have been contaminated, right? Something like that.
The DNA found on the bottle matched the crime scene profile. The person Leslie had scratched while fighting for her life, the person whose flesh was under her nails, was most certainly Eugene Gligor. And so it was that one piece of trash had just helped to apprehend another. On June 18th, 2024, a US Marshal Task Force apprehended Eugene Gligor outside his DC apartment. He was sipping coffee and scrolling on his phone as they approached him. From there, he was taken to the station for interrogation. What followed was a 24-minute confrontation. Detectives Augustin and DuBois entered the room.
Only 24 minutes? I mean, I'm guessing that he did that on purpose because it's a 24-year-old case, 24-minute interrogation. It probably was like 23 minutes or 25 minutes, but for the dramatic sake, I'm guessing he's saying 24.
After advising Eugene of his rights, they began.
How well did you know Lauren's mom? Like, was there ever any kind of a weird relationship between you two?
What is she getting at? So yeah, I was like, why would you do this to her mom? Like, what does he have to gain out of that? It doesn't make any sense that just random boyfriend / ex, I think it was ex at the time, ex of daughter would come in and like kill her.
After Lauren? No. Okay.
wasn't in touch, so I don't...
Okay. So you were never like dating Lauren's mom or anything like that behind the scenes?
Yeah, so like, was that the reason? Because, I mean, she's making a huge jump here at the very beginning.
No.
Okay.
I wasn't ever in touch. You know that.
Okay. So from the crime scene, we have DNA from the person who was there when Leslie died. So there's Leslie's blood all over the place, obviously, but then there's also another DNA profile that was picked up from the crime scene. So we realized that they never talked to you, never did anything, and we wanted to find out more about you, and if there was any kind of situation where you could have been at the house at that time.
Okay, I feel like she's playing it as if they don't know, like that they have him. Like they know they have him, but they're pretending like they don't have his DNA and it's matched, and they know they did it. So they're just trying to see what he's going to say in a situation where, like he might feel relieved now that she's not really saying, oh, we know you did it. We're just like, we have DNA, so we just wanted to see if you had anything to do with this.
I'm a little confused. So to find out more and talk to me, why not just call me and ask me to come in and talk to me versus have marshals come and arrest me and bring me in? I'm just confused as to why that's the case.
Well, because we needed to talk to you in a controlled environment, and because there's a little bit more to it than what we've told you so far.
Could you tell me?
Well, we're getting there.
Okay, so she's still trying to play coy.
I'm trying to give you an opportunity to be a little bit forthcoming before we...
I mean, I feel a little bit trapped here, like...
Well, you're under arrest, so you should feel trapped.
Right, and so I think, you know, I mean, probably asking for a lawyer is my best course of action at this point.
Okay, I was kind of having a feeling that after she said trap, like he was going to be like, give me my lawyer.
That's totally fine, and we don't have to ask you any more questions, but we are going to just tell you some stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so now that he's saying I'm going to get a lawyer, just like give it to him.
Okay. So from the crime scene, the DNA that was taken, we actually have a sample of your DNA, and it was compared to the crime scene DNA, and it matched. So we know that you were there at the time when Leslie died.
I never gave a sample of DNA.
That's correct. We obtained a sample from a discarded water bottle that you drank out of. So you were followed, and we collected it after you discarded it into the trash, and it was swabbed, and it was compared. So your DNA matches the crime scene DNA.
He's just speechless. I mean, it is kind of like, hearing that out loud sounds kind of scummy, but you got to do what you got to do, right, to find the criminals.
I don't know what to say. I have no recollection. I have no memory. I don't know what to say.
Okay, now we're just falling back on the I don't recall. Is this the Karen case all over again? I don't recall. I have no recollection. I don't recall.
Well, that's why we wanted to talk to you, to find out
No, I don't remember.
if there's any other explanation. But we can't ask you any more questions if you want a lawyer present.
Yeah, I think I should have a lawyer present. I don't know what to do or say. It doesn't make sense to me, so...
This was like earlier on, right? Him like starting the whine, and then she's like, come on. I don't see any tears.
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Do you have a lawyer that you...
No.
Okay.
I don't have to call. I don't know. Maybe I probably call my girlfriend and ask her to help find someone. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. We're not going to ask you any more questions. There's no tears coming out of your face.
I'm very dry right now.
You're dry?
What does it even mean? I mean, he got caught. I feel like he should, like, you got caught, so he might just be like trying to cry over that, but he's not saying anything. I mean, the irony of this, though. Hold on.
I'm very dry. I'm parched. I'm dehydrated. You
There's
probably...
Yeah, the irony of saying I'm dehydrated, I'm parched, when the thing that got you caught in the first place was a water bottle. Also, there's water right next to him.
See, my eyes are bloodshot red because I'm just tired and drained. I don't know what's going on. You want to go drink water so I can tear? Like, what the is wrong with you?
I don't want you to tear. I just don't
What
want
are
you
you trying to say?
I'm just trying to say that this seems a little put on.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my God, you're so full of it. You're after. This is the police. This is, yes, like it makes sense. You know, it's In your eyes, it's guilty until proven innocent. I get it.
Well, honey, your DNA was in the crime scene. That's why, like, there's a reason.
There's due process, right? Due
I don't know what he's like trying to say with this.
process. So you're saying I'm guilty before I've even been put into a court of law?
I'm saying that there's probable cause to believe that you were there when
I think what
she
you were
died.
saying was the contrary to that. So, okay. But I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know.
What we're trying to figure out is how your blood was at the scene that day.
I don't know. I don't have any recollection of being involved with any of this.
You keep saying you don't remember and you don't have any recollection.
Well,
but if somebody was not involved, it would be an adamant, I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I definitely didn't do it.
Okay, just like now that they're saying I didn't do it. Yeah. I recall, I don't recall, I don't remember, I have no recollection. This is probably not, now that I'm thinking about it, it's not what you say when someone says about did you murder somebody, right? Like, I don't recall. And now he's like, oh wait, hold on, I probably should be saying I didn't do it. Since we keep saying like I don't recall in like these cases, like specifically the Karen stuff, but they're asking questions I don't have, that if you recall or don't recall, it doesn't get you in trouble, right? Like, if were you at X location at X time, I don't recall, that's fine. But it's like, did you potentially, murder someone? I don't recall. Were you at a place that we found your blood at when someone died? I don't recall. Like, that's not a good defense there. Now that I'm like thinking about it.
Like, this is absolutely, this is,
I don't know why your blood is there also. I don't know.
Wow.
The only person that knows is Leslie, and she can't tell us.
Wow. I can't believe it.
I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of like uncomfortable now. Not uncomfortable. Like, I feel like I would feel uncomfortable. Like, I feel like at any minute he's just like going to attack them. I mean, that's probably not going to happen, but I'm getting those vibes. Of course, that's not. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I feel like he might be getting pushed too far. Where's the scene where on the thumbnail? Because this is just them two interrogating them, but there's like a thumbnail of, like, on the thumbnail it's him, the water bottle, and then some big dude.
It was clear Eugene was putting on an act, playing for more time, as if getting away with murder for nearly a quarter of a century wasn't enough. Thankfully, he wasn't fooling anyone, and was subsequently charged with first degree.
Yeah, I mean, like, you got away with it. Like, he actually got away with it longer than he had been alive when he committed the murder, I think. Right? Because he was possibly a teenager, maybe like 18, 19, at the time that he did it. So literally got, like, more than half of his life, he got away with it.
His friends and neighbours were shocked. In their words, Eugene was a zen, happy, and positive person, focused on personal growth. He was community-driven. He gave generously to charity. A former co-worker said he couldn't imagine Eugene hurting a fly. Others, though, saw through his charade. One colleague stated that although he appeared receptive and warm at first, when challenged, Eugene could be a, quote, giant, condescending prick. One of his two ex-wives accused him of being aggressive, throwing things, and punching walls during arguments. His own brother had expressed fear that Eugene might one day hurt him.
Okay, everybody just like had these thoughts and didn't do anything about it. His theory, I'm guessing we're not going to get we're not going to get him to admit to what he did and exactly how he did it. He just got sentenced to jail time, and he's just going to keep pretending like he didn't do it. Because like the last part of this says my theory, so I'm assuming Masquerade's going to talk about what he thinks happens with this guy.
Even so, nobody suspected his dark secret, especially not Lauren. In her words, she never imagined the person that she had once dated, the gentle young man who had once sat around her family's table, whom she had once cared for and defended, would one day be responsible for such a grievous betrayal. When she had first told Eugene about her mother's death, he had embraced her and convincingly said, "I'm so sorry." When she ran into him again at a restaurant shortly before his arrest, he appeared calm and collected. He didn't seem weird, Lauren recalled, and how you can look at someone in the eye, knowing that you committed this crime, and act like nothing happened, is pretty unreal. Clearly, Mr. Gligor's act wasn't just for his interrogators. He had convinced almost everyone in his social circle that he was a mild-mannered man, leaving them to grapple with the reality of his actions.
Well, except for like the closest people, right? His brother, his girlfriends, they all said something was off.
Could their charming, helpful, longtime friend also be a cold-hearted monster? By his own admission, yes. In May 2025, Eugene Gligor, now 45 years old, pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of second degree, meaning he admits to taking Leslie's life, but that his actions weren't premeditated.
Okay. So he does admit to doing it, but I'm guessing he's not going to give us like a reason? It's just not premeditated, so it was just a spur of the moment. Why did you go into their house? Like, why were you in their house? And why did it end up in her dying?
He's now facing up to 30 years in prison. State's Attorney John McCarthy remarked, "It doesn't bring Leslie back, but now they know who did it to her. There's no such thing as closure, but I'm proud of what we do together, and I'm proud of our continuing search to find creative ways to make people in this community safer."
Yeah, I mean, like, the husband had to die not knowing who did it, though.
The last question on most of your minds is likely this. Why? What exactly compelled Eugene to enter the Prier family's home and so callously take the life of a woman who had been nothing but nice to him? A woman who had cooked him meals, who had taken him on trips to the beach, who had played board games with him. A woman who he hadn't seen in at least 2 years. Some have speculated that he was motivated by lust, anger, or simple murderous curiosity. Indeed, given that there was no sign of a forced entry, it's possible Eugene simply knocked on the door, and Leslie, recognizing a friendly face from the past, led him inside. But if this had been a premeditated homicide, Eugene had been extremely inept. He hadn't brought a weapon, needed to brutally finish Leslie off with his own hands, and had sustained a wound in the process. In the state attorney's words, the circumstances suggest that this was more likely a spur-of-the-moment thing. As mentioned, Eugene had been a suspect in a string of burglaries during his teenage years.
Okay, so was he trying to steal from them? I'm guessing, since he is like a potential thief. He showed up to try to steal? Maybe he got caught trying to steal? Was anything missing? Question mark?
I can't help but wonder whether this was another break-in gone wrong. He knew the layout of the house, knew where the valuables were kept. What he didn't know was that he would come face to face with Leslie, a woman who knew his name, his address, a woman who, from everything I've read, would almost certainly have helped him mend his ways had he only stopped there. But as his ex-wife attested, when backed into a corner, Eugene had both a temper and a tendency to lash out. Perhaps when he encountered Leslie, he panicked, and his aggressive side reared its ugly head. Then, instead of stealing anything, he focused on covering his tracks as best he could. That's all speculative on my part. Ultimately, the only person who knows why Leslie died is Eugene, and he has yet to give an explanation. Not to the police, not to the Prier family, not to the court.
So that's kind of annoying, right? Like, why didn't you? Are you just going to say, yeah, I did it, but you're not going to give us a reason why you did it?
After 24 years, that question of motive remains unanswered. But hopefully, not for much longer. Eugene's sentencing hearing is scheduled for August 28th, 2025. That's the day that Lauren and the rest of her family hope to hear something, anything, about why.
Okay, so we will know in like, what, 20-something days? I feel like Masquerade should have waited. Could you have just waited like 20 days? Like, just to see like what the hearing would have said and like what the verdict would have been? Like, you could have waited a month, right? You didn't need to have a video out right now. You could have waited. This video did go up like on the 7th, I think. It said 2 days ago, so the 7th, I'm guessing. Yeah, like I feel like he should have waited so we could have gotten like the final conclusion to what happened here. Okay, that's the end of the video.
A huge thank you to my supporters.
Have they fixed this?
Here on
Actually,
YouTube and over on Patreon, especially my biggest supporters.
maybe they have this mask. Because I was talking about this mask having the back face coaling isn't
Holly Lyons,
fixed.
Thomas Armand.
No,
Alana
it
Brooks.
still isn't. It's still messed up. Again, maybe he wants it that way. I don't know. But yeah, that was that. So, literally just 24 years later, they found, they got his DNA off of like a water bottle that they, like, it feels like, hearing it said out loud sounds like a scummy move. Like, track this guy where he is, track him down to the airport, get him searched at the airport, give him some water to drink. He drinks the water, he throws it away, you get it out of the trash. he got his DNA. Like, that sounds like so crazy to do, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? To find out who committed the crime. But yep, that was that video. Again, I don't know what we're gonna be doing tomorrow. I don't know if it's gonna be China first or the Karen Reed case, or what. I mean, it's probably gonna be either one of those, or maybe I'll like do another short video. Thankfully, like the internet wasn't too bad. It actually was really good, but I did lower the like latency on the stream itself, so it actually is slightly behind. I usually have it like near 1-to-1 speed, but seeming to have changed it down a notch has kept the internet stable, thankfully. But yeah, that is it for today. See you guys. Thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers, or think about becoming a member, or subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because we're going to watch time and subscribers, and shout out to the members, EmmyStarr, RaleyDrew, and alexgkiller 880. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Tune into the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. Another do. See ya.